Welcome to Metro Dogs. I'm Amy Rosenthal, the owner of Metro Dogs, and this is Oliver, the Metro Dog. And we're here to give you a guided tour. What makes Metro Dogs a little bit unique, I think, is that I have lived downtown since 2002, and I've been a lifelong dog owner, so I kind of knew what downtown people who have dogs would want and need in a facility. And I took extra steps and extra measures to make sure that we're delivering everything that they want, from cleanliness to security to safety and superior service. So come on in, I'll show you around. When I built and designed Metro Dogs, I pretty much had those three hallmarks in mind of safety, security, and cleanliness. So let me show you some of the features here as we go in through to the playroom, and you will hear barking dogs. We have live dogs here. But let's walk back this way, and I'll be able to show you some of the features. First, we've got the big vinyl fence is the perimeter that surrounds the major play space, and we can subdivide that play space into 3 separate areas. So depending on the personalities of the dogs, their play style, how rough and tumble they like to be, or if they need just a little bit more of a laid-back session, we'll divide the play groups. Today we have 16 dogs, and they're all getting along in one group, so that's how we have it right now. Some of the features that I want to point out to you that are pretty unique to Metro Dogs are things like our air exchange system, which is that big white tube that runs across the ceiling there. That's a fresh air exchange system so that dirty, stinky air goes out, fresh air comes in, so we'll never have that smelly dog smell in here. We also have taken steps for cleanliness by putting hose reels in the ceilings. Those pull down, and we can attach a disinfectant container to those so we can clean everything pretty quickly and instantly and squeegee everything right down into the floor drains. The floor itself is another feature that's unique to Metro Dogs. I researched our floors for 3 months before installing it. It's a polyurethane surface, which is great because it's just tacky enough so that the dogs don't slip and slide, but it's not as tacky as a rubber floor where they might catch a turf toe or tear an ACL. It cleans like a dream, and it's less slippery than epoxy, so we really are loving this floor. Another safety measure that we've got are the dog chutes, C-H-U-T-E-S, or airlocks. That's the double gating system that we use to bring the dogs in, to introduce them into the play group. If you just open a door and put a dog in there, he may get pounced on by the other dogs. So this way, he can stand inside that airlock for a little while, and they can sniff and smell and wiggle and get acclimated, and then you introduce them to the group. You'll notice that what our trainers on the floor are doing right now is getting all the dogs to sit. We have Mind Your Manners sessions here at Metro Dogs, which is no extra charge. We like our dogs to be calm and get along nicely with each other as much as possible, and we reinforce positive manners in the way that she's doing now by giving them treats and telling them to sit. And any dog that has a special need, for example, one of our dogs has a food allergy right there on the floor, so their owner brings their own treats, and we give them those special treats. You'll notice on the pole there's a webcam. And so when you're at home or at your job, don't tell your boss. You can waste time looking at your dog when you're away from him or her at work and see what the action is like on the Metro Dogs play floor. We've got 2 play groups growing now. So we take the dogs who are a little bit more laid back, a little bit more timid perhaps, not quite as rough in their play style, and we put them on one side of the fence. Then on the other side of the fence, we've got the big ones, the body slammers, the dogs who really like to go at it, and they might intimidate the other dogs, so we keep them together on the other side of the fence. Welcome to Metro Dogs boarding. In our boarding facility, we have 35 kennels, but we actually have room for many more dogs than that because it's pretty common that there are 2 dogs in one household, and families will board those dogs together, especially in the larger size kennels. When you board at Metro Dogs, we can provide a cot for your dog to lay on. You can also bring your own bedding, but this is a nice way to get the dog elevated off the floor just in case there's an accident. And we have 4x4 spaces, 4x6 spaces, and 6x6. But in the true spirit of making your life easier, we have just simply one price on all of them. We don't charge you more for a bigger kennel. We just give you whatever is best for you and your dog. Each kennel is equipped with a privacy panel in between each, like this, so that the dogs don't see each other, and it eliminates any tension and stress that you might have with 2 dogs living adjacent to one another. We also have sliding panels that allow us to attach food bowls to the so that we can easily feed and water the dogs without going inside the kennels if we choose to. Some of the kennels have roofs on the top, you see here. Not all of them do, but we equipped some of them with roofs so that if we have dogs that are known to jump and can easily jump over 5 feet, then they go in one of these kennels. So far, we haven't had any escapees. Now, you'll notice, well, the people who are here notice that there's no odor of any kind of stinky doggy in here. That's because, again, cleanliness is foremost on our mind here at Metro Dogs. There are floor drains inside the boarding area, that same polyurethane floor that cleans so easily. And here's how we disinfect. We've got our hoses in the ceiling. We attach a canister of our disinfectant. We spray everything down, then rinse it with water and squeegee it all right down into the floor drains. And we do that within 24 hours of any departure. Voila, you could eat off the floor here. Well, almost. This is Metro Dogs in-out play space, and we call it that because it's an indoor-outdoor play area. In the cold weather, we've got the garage doors down. You could see that we have a webcam. We've got our polyurethane floor. It's a secure area for the dogs to be, and that's because all doorways lead through to the potty area, and all the dogs come through this space. But when the weather turns warm, we'll be able to put those garage doors up because we have a 6-foot-tall fence on the other side of those garage doors. So the dogs will be playing in a fresh air space, and yet they'll be protected by a roof over their heads and with a fence, so that's why we call it the in-out play space. So let me show you the potty area. They all come through here like a thundering herd of cattle, and we have our gates and our doors fashioned in such a way so that it's a one-way conduit out to the potty area. The trainers come out and lead the pack. And here we go. It's a nice big potty area. Remember, our building is right in the middle of downtown, so we're zoned a certain way, and I was not able to have zoning for an outdoor play space, but this is great. This is 550 square feet for the dogs to potty, and you'll notice how clean it is. As soon as they drop any waste, we pick it right up, and the rain and the snow flushes out the liquid waste. And we've got 3 inches of gravel beneath here, and it churns, and it's always clean, and it never smells. Here's the fence that's up, and there's a gate inside that fence so that when the weather's warm and we have those garage doors up, we won't have to come out through this door. The dogs will be coming and going through the gate. This is the quiet room here at Metro Dogs, and what this room is for is if you've got a dog who you know you can't tend to during the day because you have to go to work or you've got some engagements, but you also know that the dog can't run around and play, like perhaps it's recovering from surgery or recovering from an injury, or maybe just a senior dog, we'll take care of him or her in the quiet room all day for you, and the room is right off of the lobby, so you know he's going to get a lot of love and care and attention. And speaking of love and care and attention, I've got to tell you what I do during the night here at Metro Dogs, which is really unique. It's pretty standard operating procedure at a boarding kennel for them to have last outs for the dogs at maybe 9:30 at night, perhaps 10 o'clock at night. And then the dogs are sitting in their kennels all night until about 6 or 6:30 the next morning. But I decided that at Metro Dogs, I don't want to do that because it's stressful for the dog. It's stressful for the employees to come in after all night and see if the dog's left them any surprises. So what I do is I personally am here during the night, sometime between midnight and 2 a.m., taking all of the dogs out who are in boarding. I've never missed a night. It's been like that since we opened. So your dogs go out at about 7:30 or 8 p.m. when we close. Then I'm in here at sometime between midnight and 2, and then they're up for breakfast at about 6:30 or 7. So that way your dog's attended to 24/7 here at Metro Dogs. This is the Metro Dogs community room, and this is probably the only space in the building that will be relatively dog-free. The reason I've put this space in here is I want to be able to have meetings and do some things with the community. We have a few things on our agenda coming up in February, such as a session on how to prepare your dog for boarding, especially if you have an adult dog who's never been boarded before. One of our trainers will be giving a talk on that, and it's free of charge. And then later in the month, we're having a veterinarian come in and talk about oral hygiene, and so that'll cover some things like how to brush your dog's teeth and why oral hygiene is so important, and that will also be free. We want to make sure that we're providing some services for the community that they may not necessarily get somewhere else. And one of my other goals is to work with nonprofit organizations, and we'll use the community room for that. We also have on our agenda coming up in March a meeting with Minnesota Pet Project, and that's an animal rescue group, and also Small Dog Rescue. And since we are one of the few facilities in town that accepts all breeds, including pit bulls, affiliated with Savable Rescue as well, we are also closely affiliated with Helping Paws. That's an organization that trains service dogs for people with disabilities, and I give them free playtime for their service dogs. I was on that board of directors for 9 years, so that organization is very near and dear to me, and we've got a fundraiser coming up for them. So I welcome groups in the community that are dog-related groups to come and give us a call and see if there's some program that we could put together for you for your benefit. Have you ever in your life wished that you could do something that would just make you so happy that your heart would burst? That's how I felt about opening Metro Dogs, because I had a corporate career going for 30 years, and although I was successful in that, I knew that my heart belonged elsewhere. It was with the dogs. I have a love of dogs right down in my bones. So Metro Dogs was several years in the making, and now here we are today. Our primary appeal is to individuals or couples who live and work downtown, or people who live elsewhere but work downtown. And so a lot of my service offerings are geared that way. For example, I've got very flexible hours. If you have a late night meeting with a client, or tickets to a Twins game or a concert, and you don't know how late you're going to be in picking up your dog, I have something called the babysitter package, where for a flat fee of just $10, we'll hang on to your dog after daycare all the way up until 10 o'clock or so. You just have to let us know ahead of time that you're doing that. We also have early drop-off in case that you need to get here before we open at 7. We'll accommodate you when you're going to the airport and need to board your dog. I've done such crazy things as return to the building after it was closed just to let people in to collect their dogs at 10 o'clock at night rather than wait until the next morning. Why do I do that? Because I love my dog more than anything on earth, and I know what it's like when you're anxious to see your dog after you've been away. I'd also like to point out that although we're downtown, if you usually use a boarding area out in the suburbs because you think it's easier to get to and to get in and out of the burbs, you don't have to worry about that, because at Metro Dogs, we are less than 1 mile from all of the major freeway exits, and we have a parking lot with plenty of free parking. You don't have to worry about parking meters. You can be in and out of the area in just minutes. Some of the other service offerings that we have here are grooming. I will have full service grooming shortly. We're not quite revved up for that yet, but we are doing baths and nail trims. And I also made sure when we built Metro Dogs that this building is really secure and buttoned down, because I know that there could be a little bit of a worry for people who are downtown. I have motion detectors on every point of entry. We've got web cams on every point of entry. We've got a carbon monoxide detector in the boarding area. I've got a security panel here for a lockdown, in and out, and of course smoke detectors in the building too. So your dog is very, very safe here at Metro Dogs.